Today we're kicking back and talking about the Rolex scene as it stands in May 2024. All the things you need to know to amp up your watch game. Yep, we've done the research so you don't have to. You see, April brought us some fresh faces and said goodbye to others in the Rolex lineup, stirring the pot on market prices a bit. But before we dive into those details, let's ease into a quick recap of how Rolex prices have been trending these past few years. If you're all about the latest updates on specific models, feel free to skip ahead. Remember, we're not the insiders here, we're just keeping our ears to the ground, watching the numbers and maybe, just maybe, trying not to spend our whole paycheck on these beauties. So back in March 2022, the watch scene was all about Rolex. Getting your hands on one at a retail price was like finding a unicorn. Demand was through the roof, supply was tighter than a drum, and market prices were sky high, way over what you'd see on the price tags at authorized dealers. Fast forward to now, and things are simmering down. Market prices are inching back to what they were before the world went topsy-turvy, but don't miss the plot twist. Rolex's own prices have been creeping up year after year. What's cool to see is how the gap between what you pay at a store and what you'd cough up in the market is shrinking. Now, there aren't as many Rolex models flirting with prices above retail. As for the trends, well, if you're eyeing a full gold Rolex, you might just find prices that won't make your wallet weep. The steel and gold pieces? They're also more wallet-friendly below the list price. However, steel professional models are still the hot tickets, often fetching more than retail depending on how much buzz they're generating. Lately, the price shifts from month to month have been pretty chill, nothing too dramatic. Watches are moving, prices are adjusting, and buyers are out there hunting for deals. It's almost like watching birds at the park, relaxing until one decides to dive-bomb your picnic. That's the watch market for you, mostly calm but always ready to surprise. You might hear the chatter about it being a great time to buy. A buyer's market, they say. And honestly, they're not wrong. These days, your dollar stretches further, snagging you more watch for your buck compared to a couple of years back. So if you've been holding off, it might just be time to dive into the Rolex world. Let's take a casual stroll through the recent shifts in Rolex prices, focusing on a couple of models that have seen some movement. Number 1, Rolex Steel and Gold Submariner. Starting with the Steel and Gold Submariner, whether you're eyeing the blue or the black, both are trading a bit under the radar, below the $13,750 list price. Interestingly, the blue variant is just barely nudging out the black in price by about $1. It's a curious time when two-tone watches are running parallel, or even dipping below their all-steel siblings in terms of price. So, if you've got a soft spot for that added dash of gold, grabbing one of these might just be a savvy move. Number 2, Rolex Sprite Pepsi. Before the Big Watches and Wonders event, snagging one of these was like trying to get a concert ticket for a band that doesn't tour, especially the Pepsi, which was pretty rare. Both models are still churning out of the factories, which means there are a few more floating around the market now. Folks who don't want to play the waiting game till 2025 to see if they're discontinued are letting go of theirs. This has nudged the prices down a touch, around $1,000 to $2,000 less, depending on how shiny and new, or not, they are. It seems like the Sprite gets passed around more often than the Pepsi, and fewer people are slapping it on their wrist daily. Number 3, Rolex Day Date. Now about the Rolex Day Date, specifically the rose gold olive dial Day Date 40. Rumors of its discontinuation turned out to be just that, rumors. With the scare over, the prices are relaxing back to near retail levels, so it's a good time to keep an eye on this one. As for the most sought after, that would be the yellow gold with the green dial. It's seen a slight price drop in the market to about $45,000, still a ways above the $33,800 list price though. And if you're hunting for a deal, don't overlook the Roman dial Champagne Day Date. It's a classic that doesn't scream for attention like the hype dials, but it sure does sparkle with value. Number 4, Rolex Explorer. Let's chat about the Rolex Explorer for a second. At Watch Trader, it's the 40mm that's stealing the spotlight. More folks are looking to offload this size, and just as many are lining up to take it home. Sure, the 36mm has its charm, and die-hard fans who swear it's the perfect fit, but when it comes down to brass tacks, the bigger model holds the ace. It's all about that higher value, sellers get a sweeter deal, and who doesn't like that? Before we share our next watch, think about joining the opulent Oasis community. Keep up with our latest content by hitting that subscribe button. Ready to up your watch game? Number 5. Rolex Explorer 2. Now shifting gears to the Explorer 2. This one's really catching eyes, especially those of you scanning the ads. We've got a steady stream of them coming in, and guess what? You can snag one at retail price right now. No waiting, no extra fees. The white dial is still the champ, outpacing the black in popularity. So if you're in the no patience club and fancy the Explorer 2, you can pretty much walk into the market and walk out with one today. Number 6. Rolex Datejust 41. Alright, let's talk about the Rolex Datejust 41 for our next one. This month, the price hasn't really budged. The Mint and the Wimbledon dials are still the hot tickets, the ones you all seem to be chasing after. And we're keeping up, offering these sought-after dials in brand new condition mostly. Interestingly, we've been letting go of a bunch of two-tone models for less than the list price. For those of you hunting for that classic steel and gold look without breaking the bank, the market's your best bet right now. If you ask me, the real steals are the white or black dial in steel, totally timeless and available for a lot less dough than the flashier dials. Given the solid demand but equally robust supply, we reckon the prices are going to hang tight for a bit. Number 7. Rolex Submariner. Now, onto the Rolex Submariner. We're seeing more action with the date models than the no-date ones. Personally, I'm all about that clean, symmetrical look of the no-date sub, but the crowd favorites are definitely the date versions. The Starbucks model is a bit of a rare bird compared to the classic black sub, which means it fetches a higher price on the market. But if you're in the market for a deal, keep your eyes peeled for the Mark I bezel versions. They're going for a few grand less than the Mark II. Number 8. Rolex GMT-Master 2. Diving into the world of GMTs, the BLNR Batman and the BGRL are still the darlings of the scene, consistently fetching between $13,000 and $14,000. They're big hits in our buy and sell hustle. Since the Steel GR&R hit the scene, dubbed Bruce Wayne by watch aficionados, there's been a spike in interest for the older 16710LN model with the all-black bezel. This gem was in production from 2007 to 2019 and now goes for about $9,500, a piece of history at a more accessible price. Number 9. Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Switching gears to the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, it's an interesting mix in the market. The green dial is a favorite among Rolex collectors, looking to add a splash of color and a bit of fun to their lineup. On the flip side, the Celebration dial isn't getting much love from buyers, even though it's listed way over its retail price at around $15,000. It seems like that one's more for the speculators than the everyday wearers. Despite the struggle to get these from an authorized dealer, the black dial pops up most often in our offers. If you're itching for an Oyster Perpetual and aren't up for the Celebration dial or waiting forever, paying a bit over the odds on the market might just be the smarter move. Given they're the entry-level ticket into the Rolex world, it's no surprise they're a bit rare. Rolex likely finds juicier margins in the loftier price ranges. Number 10. Rolex Daytona. You see, the new 126 reference steel Daytona models are strong, with the white selling around $29,000 and the black at around $25,000. You might notice that the price difference between them has increased compared to the previous 116 reference models, which would suggest that the number of white dials in the market are increasingly fewer. The two-tone, especially with the black dial, has been quite popular at around $19,000. Again, better value for money if you like steel and gold watches. This brings us to one of the precious metal exceptions, in that the Oysterflex Daytona models are holding better value than the majority precious metal Rolex pieces. The best ones in terms of demand here at Watch Trader are the white gold Ghost and the yellow gold Pikachu. A lot of you guys prefer the older 116 reference, and I know that the Ghost is in particular high demand because of the lower price point when compared to the latest model. Alright, that's a wrap on this market update. So did any watches catch your eyes? If you're anything like us, you're probably daydreaming about adding one of these to your collection. So if you dug this video from Opulent Oasis, hit that like button, and if you're up for more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll see you soon.